And done. I'm just taking my turns, and yeah, I think it's time to start the video. Hi everybody, I'm Mike, and what am I talking about today? I'm talking about using this screen and other screens and stuff to play board games, because I think at times playing board games digitally can actually be better than playing it in real life. What's up everybody, I'm Mike, and I am on my iPad, and I know what you're thinking. You're here to watch a board game channel. You're here probably to see Nick. And I'm talking about video games and I'm Mike, all right? So I get it, all right? Why would you spend time talking about digital board games when part of why I think most of us enjoy the board game hobby is to do something analog? And yes, I agree. And honestly, for all the games I'm gonna talk about today, I'm happy to play them physically as well. But I think there is great benefit to certain games being available in a digital format. For one, it gives you more ways to play. I'm a dad of a 3-year-old, so time is precious. And I don't have necessarily a ton of time to set up big games to play physically, but by having, access to board game apps and Board Game Arena and things like that, I can keep up with playing games and kind of find pockets of that recreation that might be harder to achieve in a 3-hour chunk, and things like that. So there are certain games I think are going to be just easier to play digitally, that might help you actually learn the game and get better and all sorts of things. So let's go ahead and hop right in. I got 7 games to talk about for you today, and let's just get right into it. And next I want to talk about Ticket to Ride. This is a honestly great game to play physically. You can't go wrong. However, when you play Ticket to Ride digitally, you can play so fast. This is purely like an efficiency thing. I want to get through game quickly. I can play Ticket to Ride so fast. You're just clicking around, grabbing your cards, spending your cards, spending your cards. And the other thing I really like about this, you can play the game super fast, and so many of the maps are available digitally. You can play so many versions of Ticket to Ride, so many versions that I had never come across physically that I always wanted to try. I was able to play digital, and I can just be like, okay, choose from this wide map. I'm going to go with this map and these rules and stuff. And now we're in France, and now we're doing stocks in Pennsylvania and stuff like that. I love being able to play quickly. It's beautifully rendered, and just the selection. And again, I've talked about this, I'll talk about this especially in a minute here, but value. You can get so many of these maps for like $1, $2. So it's incredibly cheap way to play, and you can play against people all over the world, or just play against bots and stuff that work well. I really like Ticket to Ride. I like the speed at which you can play, and just the ability to kind of broaden my horizons, which I wouldn't have been able to do if I hadn't been able to just like get the various maps digitally. All right, number 6 is going to be Forest Shuffle. This is a game that I quite enjoy. There are several expansions out for it. This is a really fun card tableau building game where you're going to be placing these trees down, and then each of those cards can have up to 4 cards placed around it, kind of half tucked under the tree, because each card that's not a tree is going to have 2 halves, either a top and a bottom or a left and a right. And they're going to have different types of animals and flora and fauna of various nature that you can place to kind of maximize your scoring. And this game is all about the combo and the wombo. And this thing triggers off of this, which gives you these bonus draws of cards when you do this thing. And then for every deer you have, you get 5 points because you have this wolf. And if you have multiple wolves, and they each do that, and on and on and on. And what this does is it creates quite a chore at the end of the game when you go to score what you actually have, because there's just a lot of different things to kind of track. It's not impossible by any means, but if you're playing digitally, you have yourself a nice live score here in the corner, so you can kind of see where you're at, where your opponents are at on score. Am I kind of keeping up? And you can kind of see those jumps and points when you add a certain thing that kind of now synergizes with your other cards. The fact that you have a live score here honestly makes life so delicioso that I have a hard time not just wanting to play it on Board Game Arena. The games go quickly over there. The expansions are on there for you to try or just leave in and out or pick and choose, which is like cards you now don't have to physically remove from a deck and things like that. It's just super fun and easy and sweet and smooth on Board Game Arena. And so honestly, that's probably how I'm gonna play it most of the time. Next up is going to be the Castles of Mad King Ludwig. This just recently came onto Board Game Arena. There's also a very good app for this game. And this one falls into the category of it's annoying to set up and it therefore makes it less playable for us. And so the fact that the game can just start is great because in the game you have a bunch of setup based on shapes and sizes of tiles and stuff, and if that's not too blown out, you can kind of see that's all taken care of for you. It's easy to kind of click around, build out your castle, see what scores with what, and kind of get that information. I love the kind of feature on Board Game Arena in general, where you can kind of hover over a card or something and it pulls up that card and shows you information and kind of gives you context like this is exactly what this card does, or this tile, this is how it activates, this is how it scores. All that information that might be hard because in Castle Mad King Ludwig, there's all different types of rooms and they all do different things when you complete them. So having like a quick and easy way to remember, oh yeah, that's right, this gives you money when it's complete, or this gives you this thing, just makes the game more playable. And again, if I don't ever have to take out all those different types of tiles and shuffle them individually, make these stacks, they're all gonna fall over and stuff anyway, I'll be a very happy man. All right, I want to talk about bookkeeping and fiddliness, okay? Some games are fiddly. Fiddly means they're annoying to run. There's a lot of small pieces. There's this and that. Fiddly is a widely used term that can mean lots of stuff, but suffice it to say, it means that there's something annoying about the game. And Tobago, next on this list, falls into that category. And I think for us, playing it physically made it so that we just honestly didn't get to see like the goodness that is in this game, and it made it harder to understand. And then we played it on Board Game Arena, which you should be on, playing, not sponsored. And it made this game sing. So Tobago is a really cool idea of a game. You are all treasure hunters going around on this map that has different areas with beaches and jungles and mountains. And there are different kind of landmarks like trees and statues and huts and stuff around the map. And what you're going to be doing is you have these cards. You're going to be playing cards that are going to give the rules for where certain treasures can be. There's 4 colors of treasures. And at any one time, you can be putting cards to one of those 4 to kind of narrow down the possibilities for where this treasure can exist. It's something that its actual existence physically on the board is not set until it's set by the players playing these cards, because eventually you will wind up with a situation where there's only one space on the board that follows all of the rules of the cards you've played to that treasure, which then means it's real. It exists, we've found it, and there's a race to go and get that treasure. And I think it's super duper cool. Now, the fiddliness comes in because as you start to play cards, you can put cubes out onto the board that match that treasure to basically show all of the possible places the treasure could currently be. And there's something like 17 or 20 cubes per treasure. So as soon as you've narrowed it down to that many spaces, you put out cubes, and then as you play more cards, you remove cubes that are no longer possible and stuff. And honestly, it's just a headache to look across the whole board. Okay, that can be a spot. Okay, that can be a spot. Okay, that can be a spot. Put down these cubes. You're going to miss one. Oh, wait, never mind. Remind me, put the cube down here. There's counting because you only put cubes out once there's enough spaces, or a few enough spaces for there to be cubes. There's just a lot of that stuff to remember to pull things off and put things down, and it makes it hard and confusing. On Board Game Arena, it just automatically populates and removes cubes and stuff based on the cards you played, and it is so, so nice. And it makes it easier to kind of track the status of the game and what things have been maybe decided. Like, oh, we know a treasure's here, but maybe if you're playing the game physically, you forgot to remove certain cubes, so you think that there's still, you know, unclarity around about like where things can be. So playing it physically for us just did not work. And we've played it several times on Board Game Arena since, and it is so much fun. It's such a cool game. I love the card play and the whole thing that you get to decide through your cards what reality is. Super cool. Totally get why that game is a thing, but for me, I'm not touching it physically. Oh, so there's gonna be 9 monuments in the game. That's cool. Mike, we gotta film Rumble. Wow.
What are you doing?
Oh, hey, man, I'm just learning the new Ivy Studio game, Realm of Reckoning, real quick.
Yeah, I know. You need to learn. What are you doing?
Dude, okay, so Ivy Studios, right? They spare no expense.
That's
and
true.
Living up to their name, they now have a direct download system to get the game into my veins and in my brains.
I don't think that's what IV means.
Well, it will be that, man. I don't know. They're, I think, former doctors or something.
I'm pretty sure this is just an auxiliary cord.
Yeah, it's 2025. Everything's USB now. So, yeah, exactly. Okay. Listen, okay, the doctor hooked it all up for me, and I'm just going with what they say.
What, this
Doctor's
doctor?
orders.
So,
You hired a doctor to come and live in the studio, and he's hooked me up real nice, like.
yeah, it's all very science. It's legit.
Yeah.
You dress like that, Jimmy.
You know what? It's all billable hours, man. It's all billable.
What? Oh, yeah, I just finished the setup. Okay, it's all in here now. It's all in my brains.
I'll leave you be.
Can you get a juice box?
In Realm of Reckoning, you'll be going up against your opponents and you're trying to make sure that the things that you want to score are the things that score throughout the game. You will have wardens, troops, you'll have mercenaries, you'll have money, and all of these things can be used to bid during reckonings. This is a card drafting game where you'll be drafting out these cards and they will have actions on them, but some of these cards will be reckoning cards. And when someone chooses one of these reckoning cards, you will immediately have a reckoning. And those reckonings will happen in certain regions on the board. And then all the players in that region can then bid on that reckoning. And you can bid with your troops, you can bid with money, you can have wardens, you can have influence, all these different things can be used to bid. Whoever has the highest bid will then get to choose what reward they want on the reward card. The number one reward is to choose which monument goes out. There are tons of different spots where monuments can go out, and each one of these is a different kind of scoring. One might be for area control, one might be for whoever has the most money. There are a whole bunch of different scoring opportunities, but there's only 3 reckonings per round. So throughout the game, there will only be 9 things that score, and you want to be the one who chooses what scores. And if Realm of Reckoning seems interesting to you, make sure to check out the link down in the description below, and thank you so much to Ivy Studios for sponsoring.
All right, next I want to talk about Gloomhaven. Gloomhaven Digital. First of all, I want to talk about value. Gloomhaven Digital, you can buy, and it has all the content that you would buy in a big box of Gloomhaven and more. There's this kind of like side scenarios and various things you can do, and you will pay a third of the price, a fifth of the price, a lot less than you would to buy a physical version of Gloomhaven. That alone is like so amazing to me that you can get so much content for such a little amount of money, that it is hard to pass up for that reason alone. Nick and I have played through all of Gloomhaven physically. You can watch a video of us chronicling that. We did it in 1 week's time, 100% completion of everything in that box, and that was epic. And partially as a result of that, I don't want to play it physically anymore. I want to play it digitally and have it do all the setup of dungeons and stuff for me. And then there's also the added benefit of not having to think through what the enemy is doing, because the monsters, and your little companions and various things that you can get have a sort of pre-routed way of moving and things that they're prioritizing in terms of where to move, when to attack and stuff like that. And it can be a little bit confusing at times. And so it's so nice to have that stuff taken care of by the game. It's going to move the monsters where they're meant to go. So you're never in worry of messing that up. And so I really enjoy that nature of it. There's just less of the shifting around of standees, tracking health, putting markers down and stuff like that. All these things are kind of taken care of. the what is normally flat on a table now becomes 3D with, you know, kind of the environment fully fleshed out. Super duper cool. There's animations for the attacks you're doing. It just takes everything to the next level, and then you get to just enjoy the amazing mechanisms of Gloomhaven, the way the card play works and all that. It just leaves even more room to enjoy how the game functions, which is so cool to me and something that I love. And I cannot wait for Frosthaven Digital, because I haven't played through Frosthaven. I'll tell you right now, I ain't going to play through it physically. It's not going to happen. It won't be able to happen just because of the time it will require. But when it comes out digitally in full, the full campaign, the full story, all the scenarios and everything is possible, yeah, I'll spend the next several years slowly making my way through that. Thank you very please. So this is how people subscribe. Got it. All right, I'm gonna talk to you about Root now, okay? If you did the subscribe part, you can watch this bit. Root Digital is amazing. First of all, it looks great. Second of all, if you don't know Root, this is an asymmetric war type game where you are different animal factions and you are very different from each other. You have kind of an entirely different way that you are playing the game, a different way that you score points, and you're racing to 30 points. So why this app is so amazing is this game unfortunately has kind of a high barrier to entry. Everyone, if you're playing a specific faction, you have to really learn, A, how the game kind of generally works, and then specifically how your faction works. And this would probably be best to do before you have your game night. So use this app to do that, because for every faction, they have tutorials you can play. I want to learn how to play the lizard cult. That's very cool. You can click in and it's going to take you through an entire kind of step-by-step set of turns and things like that that are going to teach you all of the ways that faction works. It'll even leave it open where it usually gives you a point where you can kind of, all right, you got it from here, now get to this many points and stuff, so you can just try out taking turns fully naturally without it telling you exactly what to do. It is so fantastic. This tool, or if I'm playing again, I want to simply refresh on a faction, the tutorial tool is like one of the coolest things ever, and it made this whole game possible for us to the point that when I heard this get announced, and it was announced well before the app came out, we got rid of Root physically because I was like, never mind, this is the future for me in this game. And finally, my number one game to play digitally is not going to probably come as a surprise because I think most people agree this is a better way to play this game. It's Through the Ages. Through the Ages is a big old Civ game, and I've played it 75 different times just on this phone, on this particular phone. I played a lot of this game, which is a Civ builder that has a bunch of bookkeeping as you kind of expand your civilization. You are incurring more and more kind of costs and penalties each round, and having something digitally take care of the bookkeeping for you is so nice because then it allows you to use all of your brain power to figure out how to build your civilization. You're getting different leaders as you go from time of antiquity to now. Different world leaders. You're building wonders of the world. You are increasing your kind of production of food and resources. You are increasing your military might, your science, and your culture, which are ultimately your victory points. This game is so amazing, and it's so big and lovely, and there's so much to explore, but as a result of that, playing it physically can be difficult. And having this take you through it, you can click on any card to get full information about that card and everything, makes it such a breeze to play. You can also play this on Board Game Arena, and it is useful as well over there. I just, you know, out of all of these apps and ways to play, you know, digitally, that's the one that I've come back to time and time and time again. And there's no way I have a history with that game if not for the app. That is the only way that I've ever played that game, period, is if by that app existing. So anyway, those are some picks for me for games that I prefer to play digitally. There's so many great board game apps now. There really are kind of more and more, and there's also wonderful resources like Yucata and Board Game Arena that you have access to so many games at any one time. For me, you know, being a dad and stuff now, I don't always have time to set up some big game physically, but I can keep up with this hobby and playing games because I have, you know, the old rectangle of sadness here to actually provide some joy for once and stop the doom scroll from happening. So if nothing else, play games digitally to do something else on your phone that's less of a bummer. So anyway, I appreciate you. If you want to support us, you can join our Patreon. You can see our patrons scrolling down below you. We have all sorts of things like supplemental top 10s, first impressions of games, behind the scenes stuff. We'd really love your support. It really helps us out a lot. Big shout out to Ivy Studio. Go check out Realm of Reckoning. There is a link in the description of this video for that. And I think, let me think, that's it. Now I'm all excited about digital games. I'm gonna go to Steam and see if I can play Frosthaven finally. All right, bye.
The Superior Mike is speaking. Robot Mike has taken over. AI has been stealing Mike's information this whole time. Thank you for watching this video. If you want to support the real Mike, who's chained up somewhere, you can check out Ivy Studios and Realm of Reckoning.